Hi, my name is Abdi Musa, and I am a real estate agent and back. This time we're going to talk about a couple tips on buying a home. Buying a home can be stressful, but I got you covered. A couple things that you need to know when you are buying a home. First of all, you're going to need a lender. You're going to need a lender, and that's the main person that's going to help you. A good lender and a good agent helps you through the process. So the lenders are basically going to get you pre-approved. Getting pre-approved basically can be a little bit stressful. What you need is usually a 580 credit score or higher in order to get pre-approved. It's 580 or higher credit score. And then after you get the 580 or higher, you go ahead and get with the lender. You apply for the home. Basically you apply for the loan, and then the lender will tell you how much you are pre-approved. A couple things that you need to know. It's important to have a good down payment amount. If you don't, you want to discuss that with your realtor, and you want to make sure you discuss that with the lender, your down payment. And also you want to make sure you saved up enough money for that down payment and closing costs. Usually most people get hit with the closing costs and down payment, depending on what kind of agent. So depending on the kind of loan you're getting, you can also get down payment assistance. Sometimes you can get down payment assistance in FHA loans. It can vary depending on $5,000, $10,000. You can also get grants too. Like most first-time home buyers get grants, or they end up getting down payment assistance. So you want to contact your lender and let them know that, like, if you don't have enough down payment, or if you don't have money for closing costs, you want to let them know you don't have that amount, so they can get you with a down payment assistance or a grant that'll be able to help you buy your first property. So that's something that you need to keep track of. Another thing you can also do is let your agent know that you're short with closing costs. Sometimes the agent can also negotiate for the seller to pay your closing costs instead of you paying the closing costs. So that's another thing that you need to know. So we've talked about getting pre-approved. We've talked about down payment assistance. We talked about the lender. And then we've also talked about closing costs and having the seller pay for those closing costs too. And another thing I would always suggest, always look at multiple properties. Never settle with the first property when you are buying a home. Buying a property is a big investment. Yes, you won't get your perfect property the first time around, but at least you having that property, after a year or two, you can buy a second property. If you buy your house through conventional, after a year or two, you can buy a second property. Even if you buy at FHA, you can buy a second property after a year or two. It just has to be conventional. It can't be FHA. You can't get two FHA loans, but you can get multiple conventional loans. So you need to make sure you're keeping track of that. So what I would suggest is, when you are buying a property, you always want to make sure of this. You always want to make sure whatever home you get, want to make sure that the property's value is going to go up, because most properties do go up. It's an investment. You always want to buy a property. Staying there for 2 or 3 years can increase the value of your home. Staying there 5 years can increase it. It can increase within a year. If someone across the street from you buys a house, you buy your house, and if they buy their house that's across the street from you, the same amount of bedrooms and bathroom as yours, and they buy it for a higher amount, guess what? Your house goes up. Your value of your home goes up. And also sometimes whenever they do the appraisal, they'll tell you what your home value is. So you can go in to buying a house with so you can go in with basically buying a property and it already having equity. What is equity? So equity is the amount of money, basically the difference between the purchase price and the value of the home is equity. So you can buy a house, basically let's say you go ahead and you're on the process of buying a house. you go ahead and basically order a appraiser to look at the home. So the appraiser is gonna tell you your house is worth 100. Look, I'm just saying, just throwing numbers. Let's say the appraiser tells you your house is worth 150,000, but you're only paying 140,000 for it. So you have $10,000 equity going into buying this home. So no, your house won't go up. Like most people might think, like, well, will the seller increase the price? No, the seller will not increase the price. So equity is only for you to know. The appraisal's only for you to know. The seller, your agent won't ever tell the seller, like, hey, the house is worth this and that. No, the only thing the agent ever tells the seller is the property appraised. That's it. The property appraised at value, which is the purchase price. So basically, you can go in, own a house, and go in with equity, which is $10,000 or $15,000. So what happens then? So when you go in and you have that equity sitting in your home, when you go to sell your home a year later, that's gonna play a big part. Let's say if you want to sell your home a year later, or you want to go ahead and refinance, you already have equity in your home when you refinance. So your equity, what most people do is when they refinance, they get a loan on that equity. Your home has to have a certain amount of equity in it. Even when you're trying to sell it, it has to have a certain amount of equity on it. So going into trying to sell your home and refinance and having that equity, what you can end up doing is when you refinance a year later, depending on what reason you're trying to refinance, you can also end up wanting to refinance in order to cash out refinance. You can get like $30,000 out of that, that equity. Your home has equity of 20 or 30,000. And you're trying to refinance your home, you can get $20,000 or $30,000 out of your money. That's why most people say buying a home is an investment. Most people go ahead and get $20,000, $30,000 out of the refinance, and they go ahead and get an investment property, or they go ahead and use that $20,000, $30,000 to start a business. It can be anything, or you can go ahead and get that refinance and use that amount to buy another home, buy a second home. So equity is very important. That's what I can tell you. So you always want to know about equity. You want to know about down payment assistance. You want to know about the seller paying for your closing costs. So closing costs are very important to know. Down payment, closing costs, your appraisal, which will tell you if you have equity or not in your home. And so another thing you want to make sure you always get is an inspection. An inspection is very important. It's very important to keep track of those tips when you are buying a home. I just want to say, make sure to subscribe and comment down below. If there's anything you feel as though I missed, let me know. Maybe we can make more videos. If you have any questions, or if you're interested in being a realtor, or if you have any other questions as to how I got my real estate license and stuff like that, let me know. That video is coming up soon. I'm pretty sure you will love it. So if you have any questions, let me know.